Encouraged by Union Commander Ulysses S. Grant to show initiative as federal forces waged their successful campaign to break the Confederate siege of Chattanooga, General Joseph Hooker led 3 divisions on November 24th, 1863 against Confederates holding Lookout Mountain. September 22nd, 1862. September 22nd, 1862. Abraham Lincoln is going to issue his preliminary Emancipation Proclamation declaring that all slaves in rebellious states shall be free as of January 1st, 1863. Zen Education Project, September 22nd, 1862. Abraham Lincoln issues the preliminary Emancipation Proclamation. It said that on January 1st, 1863, all persons held as slaves within any state or any designated part of a state, the people whereof shall then be in rebellion against the United States shall be then thenceforward and forever free. It only applied to the 10 states that were still in rebellion. A few documents in U.S. history share the hallowed reputation of the Emancipation Proclamation. Many, perhaps most of the students have heard of it. They know vaguely it pronounced freedom, earned President Abraham Lincoln the title of Great Emancipator. This lesson, intentions, South Carolina, a war to free the slaves. Okay, we didn't really get much into the details, so keep reading about Battle of Lookout Mountain. One small Confederate division under General Carter Stevenson held the summit, supported by troops under Generals Edward C. Walt, Hall, and John C. Moore protecting the slopes. Fog moved in as the Federals began their assault at about 8 a.m. It continued to inhibit both forces during the day, so that much of this battle above the clouds was heard but not seen by observers. At Grant's headquarters, Southerners put up stiff resistance around Craven's Farm below the summit, but in the afternoon, Stevenson was ordered to withdraw from the mountain to reinforce Confederates, then battling General William T. Sherman's Union forces. William Tecumseh Sherman's Union forces to the northeast. All Confederate troops were successfully withdrawn. By 8 p.m., by the end of the next day, after heavy fighting on Missionary Ridge, the siege of Chattanooga had been broken. So, the preliminary Emancipation Proclamation, is there something that we could say about it? What the preliminary one? So, he's starting to say that, okay, the black folks in the South are going to be free, but he's just saying that on January 1st. So September, October, November, December, you still got 3 months, right? Maybe he's just giving 3 months heads up, right? Should we just go ahead and read the damn thing? All right, let's read it. By the President of the United States of America, a proclamation. I, Abraham Lincoln, President of the United States of America and Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy thereof, do hereby proclaim and declare that hereafter as heretofore the war will be prosecuted for the object of practically restoring the constitutional relation between the United States and each of the states and the people thereof, in which states that relation is or may be suspended or disturbed. That is my purpose upon the next meeting of Congress, to again recommend the adoption of a practical measure tendering pecuniary aid to the free acceptance or rejection of all slave states, so called, the people whereof may not then be in rebellion against the U.S., and which states may then voluntarily adopt it, or thereafter may voluntarily adopt immediate or gradual abolishment of slavery within the respective limits, and that the effort to colonize persons of African descent, with their consent upon this continent or elsewhere with the previous obtained consent of governments existing there, will be continued. What? That on the first day of January in the year of our Lord 1863, all persons held as slaves within any state or designated part of a state, the people whereof shall then be in rebellion against the United States, shall be then thenceforward and forever free. And the executive government of the United States, including the military and naval authority thereof, will recognize and maintain the freedom of such persons, and will do no act or acts to repress such persons, or any of them in any efforts they may make for their actual freedom. That the executive will, on the first day of January aforesaid, by proclamation, designate the states and part of the states, if any, in which the people thereof respectively shall be in rebellion, shall then be in rebellion against the U.S., and the fact that any state or the people thereof shall on that day be in good faith represented in the Congress of the U.S. by members chosen thereto at elections wherein a majority of the qualified voters of such state shall have participated, shall, in the absence of strong countervailing testimony, be deemed conclusive evidence that such state and the people thereof are not then in rebellion against the U.S. That attention is hereby called an act of Congress entitled an act to make an additional article of war approved March 13th, 1862, in which act is in the words and figure following, being enacted by the Senate and House of Reps of the U.S. of A. in Congress assembled, that hereafter the following shall be promulgated as an additional article of war for the government of the Army of the United States. It shall be obeyed and observed as such article. Goodness gracious, it goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Signed by Abraham Lincoln and William H. Seward, the Secretary of State, and the President, done at the city of Washington. Okay, let's read some of the sections. Section 2, be it further enacted, the act shall take effect after its passage. The 9th and 10th section, an act to suppress insurrection, to punish treason and rebellion, to seize and confiscate property of rebels and for other purposes. Section 9, and be it further enacted that all slaves of persons who shall thereafter be engaged in rebellion against the government of the United States of America, no slave escaping, here enjoying all, the executive and witness, the 22nd of September. In the year of our Lord 1862, and of the independence of the United States, the 87th. Signed,